Well, hey everyone. Good morning. Welcome to the Blue Gamer Bluecast Morning Show. I'm your host, Adam Blue, 30 plus year video game enthusiast and industry analyst. And today what is today? May 4th. Isn't that a Star Wars thing? May the 4th be with you. That's how much I've kind of fallen out of Star Wars, unfortunately. As much as I used to be a huge fan, and I still like Star Wars a lot. I just don't think about it as much anymore. I was thinking about it yesterday, in fact, because there's a bunch of games on sale, Star Wars related games because of this, and they had Shadows of the Empire, and I remember playing that when the N64 first came out. When that game first came out, that blew my mind. I still have vivid memories like of sitting there, but where was I sitting? I just remember. I think I was in my room, but like going through the level, listening to the Star Wars music that was playing, and there was some other little thing that had to do with a school. I don't know. It's just sometimes it's interesting little side memories that might unlock from past memory. I don't know. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know when it comes to Star Wars. Yeah, again, it's kind of dropped off for me, unfortunately, but I'd love to get back into Star Wars one way or another. But anyway, this weekend I didn't really get much gaming done. There was other stuff that was going on, family stuff, birthdays. Yeah, I didn't really get to play much gaming, but I did finally see Super Mario Galaxy, the movie. And I want to talk about a few things about that. Let's do that first. So when it comes to the Mario Galaxy movie that came out, what was interesting was Shigeru Miyamoto actually expressed surprise and confusion regarding harsh critical reviews for the Super Mario Galaxy movie. So if you haven't heard or you haven't seen, a lot of the reviews for the Super Mario Galaxy movie weren't that great. Saying that the movie's not well made, it's not that great, it's kind of boring. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, I mean, this is just a video game Mario movie, and I can understand it's being made for kids, all that. So it was interesting to see Miyamoto actually respond to the criticism as if acknowledging it and responding. But I myself was like, well, let me see it. And I'm interested to see what I think myself. Well, I finally saw it. My youngest had a birthday. We got some of his friends. We went out to go see it. And I think we all agreed as a family that it was weak. Everyone, my wife, my kids, their friends, everyone was pretty much agreed that there was really nothing going on here. There's no takeaway. When the movie's done, I'm not sitting there kind of thinking about maybe some of the decisions the characters had to make, certain moments. Like, what was your favorite moment? Well, Star Fox was cool, and I thought Yoshi showing up was cool, but it really has nothing going for it. And it reminds me of the latest, that Transformers 1 movie that came out, which again, it's like a kid's movie. Sure, I'll go watch it. And it had an excellent story that, what's the word? It transcended is what I'm trying to say. The medium. It was telling a really human story that you could have got out of a book, whatever, but applied in the Transformers universe was neat. So back to Mario. What's happening is we're getting a bunch of little vignettes of interesting Mario things happening. You could even call them Easter eggs. But what this movie does instead is, from the start, it is constantly throwing these member berries at you, these Easter eggs at you. And then what happens is it kind of loses its fun because of that. Like, then there's no surprises anymore. A lot of times then the jokes that are happening are just your standard joke that you might find out of a Pixar movie or another like family comedy movie. So a few issues so far that I'm seeing with this movie is there's not any like interesting story or journey the characters are going on that someone like a child could reflect on and maybe think about. There's not any cohesive flow to it. It's just a bunch of different shorts that are just showing you different aspects of the different Mario games with no real cohesion into how they connect with each other. A princess gets kidnapped, and at the end, the characters save the princess. Like, and and then there's that other complaint about it, and the way it does it is so kiddie, it's so safe. There's nothing interesting happening, nothing. And then I can understand the defense of that being, well, this is made for kids, and I don't like that defense necessarily. I can understand if it's like a Paw Patrol, but when Mario first came out, if we're not counting Donkey Kong, which is a challenging game in itself, or Super, what was it called? Just Mario Brothers, the one where you're going back and forth in the Donkey Kong style. Not really, because there's no ladders, but you know what I mean, where you're jumping around and going to the side of the screen and come out the next. And then to Super Mario Brothers, that really put the IP on the map. These are challenging experiences. They're experiences that are asking you to use all your senses to complete them. When you're watching this Mario movie, it is not asking you to use all your senses to watch it. It's really just showing you, hey, here's what's in Mario, here's what's in Mario. And I think that degrades the IP. This is probably, other than Mario is Missing, which I'll bypass that just because it was trying to teach people something. Mario is Missing. If you guys remember SNES, I got the game thinking it was a Mario game. It wasn't. But anyway, there is nothing that this is. It's like it makes Mario look bad, the IP. Like it makes it look like there's no depth to it. Not that there necessarily was or has, and I think there kind of was, just because when you're playing a Nintendo game, when you're playing a Mario game, there's so much more going on than controlling a character. There is a relationship between the environment you're in and the mechanics that are required to complete, what you want to complete in the game. And so there's a lot going on. But when you're watching this movie, even compared to the first one, this movie's not doing anything to even lightly challenge your mind in any way. It is completely forgettable. There's no story hook. You don't feel anything for the characters because nothing's going on. They're just going here to there. And again, because I said there's no cohesion between the certain scenes, it's not like you've earned anything, and I guess that's a good way to put it. You're never earning any of the action that's like, I was excited about Star Fox. I heard about that. And, he shows up and it's pretty cool and it's okay. I think it's almost a good thing that they announced he was there first. I remember people were complaining, but I'm like, I don't know. If you didn't know Star Fox was going to show up and then he did, and then it was just that, I think that would further. I think by revealing what they did before the movie came out was a way to get people kind of, I don't know, prepared. So I got to say, I am super disappointed. Nintendo and even Miyamoto, in a way, from him defending this, thinks they did something good with the Mario IP by making this movie. And no, I feel like, it might not really have any impact. I'm just, a 40-year-old dude that grew up with Mario. So it could be that it doesn't matter. This movie is, it's already almost at $1 billion, I think. And Mario sells well, that's fine. But I think this was an opportunity where Nintendo could have, it doesn't need to be a prestige film, but, Pixar. My wife made this comparison. She was even talking about how there's Pixar and Disney films that have kind of like deeper themes that really make you think, and it makes you want to watch again because you kind of want to be enveloped into those themes, the emotional journeys sometimes these movies carry for you. And that's actually something I've complained about. I'm the type of person, I'm not really into the Pixar or Disney thing when they get super emotional, but there's a layer there of honesty, of humanity, and it's completely missing in this Mario Galaxy movie. So that is my quick review of the Mario Galaxy movie, and I think it is worse than any Sonic movie. It's and the thing about it is, it's not that this is badly made. It's more of, this is it. This is what you do with the Mario movie sequel. This is it. That's disappointing. So, all right, gonna move on. I'll probably clip that out for later. I had to prefer Revenge of the Fifth. Yeah, that's tomorrow. I wonder what I'll plan for that. Mario hot takes incoming. Let's see. It fits Miyamoto's sensibilities, fun worlds, shallow depth of story that doesn't go deeper. Okay, yeah, that's a pretty interesting way to describe it because that almost describes what the games are. But I think what the difference is there's still this underlying mechanical nature of the games that is just pretty amazing. And yeah, I guess that doesn't mean it could be translated to film. So that really could be the thing. I wonder if working with Illumination, Nintendo was like, yeah, we want to control what's being said and what's being done. I don't know. Okay, let's see. It does feel like a fun and happy children's movie to take your little ones to. Yeah, if you've got young kids, but my youngest, he turned 13 and him and his friends didn't like it. So it's got to be really young kids, which is crazy. Crazy. I mean, that's the prime, 13's like the prime age that you want them to think it's awesome. If at 13 the kids are like, yeah, that's a bad sign. That's a bad sign. Okay, well, guys, let's then real quick jump into what I've been playing, and it wasn't a whole lot. I was the second on Saturday, the last time I played, and I was playing Silent Hill F. What I did was in Silent Hill F, you guys saw me playing it, I decided to restart the game. So the puzzles have a difficulty level. It's like story, casual, hard, and then like insane. And I was playing the puzzles on hard. And it's not that the puzzles are hard. What the difference is, the puzzles are more in depth and take a long time. So I played with the puzzles on hard. I restarted again with the puzzles on story because I'm going to be honest, guys, I do not care to spend my time doing puzzles. And I knew that going into this. I wanted to get into Silent Hill F for the melee combat, which I do like. I like the combat system. And it was interesting because so I think when I was playing, I think it was last Friday. If I don't remember exactly when I came to that puzzle and I was looking at it. I'm like, okay, I'll have to figure this out later. What it is, and it's definitely not good for streaming, is you take the item, you pick an item up, and you can examine it and look around, and you try to find a pattern that then you match with something else. That is very easy to do. It's just the matter that it takes of going up to the object, grabbing it, pressing the button to be in exam mode, turning it around where you want it, and then putting it down. When I played it on easy, you could just pick up the item, and you could see right there, instead of some random shape on it, it was the shape of the tie, the bow tie on these items. And so it's easy to be like, oh, that goes here, that goes here, that goes here, that goes here. And I just prefer that for what I'm doing because I'm just doing that to get to the next area where then there'll be some crazy monsters, crazy combat. I mean, one of the areas, and it's still early in the game, that this is where I decided to restart, is you come across some enemies that they themselves are the puzzle. You fight them, and then you try to get the enemy to kind of get you in the right direction, and then you follow that, and then there's another group of enemies, and that's actually fun. The problem was the puzzle of trying to solve which direction you go, because then if you go the wrong direction, or let's say that I'm in a fight and I'm like wanting to fight some guys, I might go too far off the path and then it restarts you. And I don't mind that, actually. That would be a cool challenge. I just don't care to be in a puzzle that would restart. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, this is what's killing the pacing for me. Now, what I'm describing here is completely preference, and that could be what you want in your combat action game. So I don't even dislike what I'm saying about the game. I'm just saying that I like that the game gives you options where if you don't really care about doing these like match puzzles or it's the sort of trial and error. It reminds me of the Koriki Forest. Am I saying that right? Was it I think every Zelda game has a forest level, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, where it's like trial and error to get to where you want. That's kind of what this is. There's just enemies in the meantime, and you only have a limited amount of your weapons degrade and get destroyed. And while I feel like I had enough weapons, I actually went through them all on hard. And I was like, I could just reload my save and try it again, which you're still at the same puzzle, so it's not like you had to. But pacing-wise, I don't really care to do a long-term puzzle. So I guess a long way to say, I think it was really awesome that I was able to restart Silent Hill F, put the puzzles on story, and it took me 15 minutes to get back to where, Well, not exactly where I am. I still need to do a little bit more, but 15 minutes to get near to where I was. And it's really cool because, the area I got into before I stopped, it's open. I like how open it is. Anyway, I thought there was just an interesting angle of Silent Hill F, and I'll be playing it some more. Oh, Lost Woods, that's another. Yeah, Kiriko. If it, yeah, that's a neat thing that I think it was like the first time playing, those Zelda games. I forget which one did it. I don't know if it was Link's Awakening or Link to the Past. But anyway, and then that's all I was playing. Because I was really out doing other stuff. So, I'm trying to think. There's any maybe like gaming adjacent stuff that I got into. I mean, the Mario movie is probably the closest thing. So, I was just hanging out with family and stuff. So yeah. Okay, let's jump into some news. I pulled some stuff. I hadn't really read through them all, so let's go through them together. Sega quietly files trademark for revival of a 1990 arcade co-op classic, Bonanza Brothers. I saw that picture, knew exactly what it was. It was one of the first Sega Genesis games that I got when I got the Sega Genesis, the Bonanza Brothers, because there wasn't really much. It was like this, Bimini Run. I think it was even before Sonic, but it's like I got it right when Sonic came out. And it's a cool looking game, especially like this is well, I thought it would maybe show a little more let's see. What I wanted to do is kind of show like the graphics. Like I think these are pretty neat graphics for the Genesis. So again, like as much as I played Atari and Nintendo, it actually wasn't that much. Video games really didn't capture me until the Sega Genesis, and I think the graphics here are a good example of that. It just looks clean, it looks cool, and it stands today. I mean, it's really cool. It looks like there's maybe more with them, with this picture. I don't know. It would be cool to actually beat Bonanza Brothers. That's an example of a game that, I played when the Genesis came out, and I would just play it, but then jump into another game and never really beat it. Okay. Leaker claims Dark Souls Trilogy remake in development. Okay. Let's see. A leaker with a relatively unknown track record has stated on X that Bandai Namco is prepping a Dark Souls Trilogy remake for undisclosed platforms. Release window is not reported. I mean, that makes sense. I could see, because Bandai Namco doesn't do... They like kind of rely on things like anime games or things that they didn't develop. Low-key, the only games that needs to be remade is DS1 and 2. They're low-key kind of ugly. I mean, that was an interesting take. Just because we have a Dark Souls remastered and it looks great. Unless their plan is to give it like a sorry, I got some dog here. Demon Souls remastered look, because that Demon Souls, that what Bluepoint did on the PlayStation 5 still looks amazing. And I would love to play through Dark Souls 1 and 2 again, even 3, even though, I don't know, something about 3 didn't grab me as much as 1 and 2, even though I feel like 2 is completely different. Okay. And then there's Bloodborne, which again is I don't know if that's my favorite Dark Souls, but that's cool to hear. Oh man, it's actually in the first Zelda in the overworld. There is a patch of woods you get stuck in if you don't go to the right path, just like the Super Mario. Okay, just like the Super Mario Bros. Bowser dungeon. Wow, I didn't even realize that was in Super Mario Brothers in the Bowser dungeon. That's interesting. I totally forgot that was a thing, even though I've beaten it. Maybe that was my little kid brain not realizing what was happening. And then Jim Killix, I remember playing that with the childhood friend of Bonanza Brothers when we first met. He's a flight engineer on drone planes now. Wow. That's pretty interesting. Okay. So, Dark Souls, we'll see what happens with that. Okay, this was about the Super Mario movie. A global total now stands at 894.2 million. So, good. Glad it's... But here's an interesting thing to think. I guess so many people are seeing it. That's why there could be skewed more, enough people that understand what they want out of a movie are going to express their concerns with this movie. And so that's probably part of what's happening. Because if it was like Paw Patrol or I don't know, one of the Minions, it's like you don't have any expectations with Minions other than what they originally were. And was it Despicable Me or something? All right, here's this. HyperX unveils new premium hot swappable wireless Xbox controller. So what? Oh, okay, here we go. See, this is what I'm liking. This is what I like about certain third-party controllers and what I think Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft should do more. Switching out thumbsticks, face plates. There could be more done. I like some of the controllers you see where you can flip around, like the D-pad versus the analog sticks, both left and right side. And the face buttons too. I think there's a Turtle Beach controller that does that. Even a ROG controller, Asus, yeah. And this is important. What was I playing recently with my Vader? Actually, I'll have to unplug it. The Vader 5 Pro, or Vader 5S, actually, because this is the wired version that works on Xbox. And just having the tension rings on the analog sticks. What was I playing? It was something. Yeah, maybe it was Silent Hill, something that had an aim look. And then I just went to my tension ring and I was like, well, that's a little too loose. Let me turn it. And then it makes the tension. I think every controller needs a tension ring for the analog stick. Like I have one where you have to take apart the controller and do that. I think the Xbox is the same way. The Pro Controller, you have to take off the analog stick and then put a tool in. But this is like right on the fly. Like you could just twist it, get the feeling you want. That's one reason I really like this. So I think that's something that's missing. Unless that does it and it's, in this little spot up here, but that just looks like a typical analog stick thing. And it's interesting too, because, with how much I'm into the different types of controllers and how they feel, that could just be because I'm playing so much. I have that expectation. I think the average person maybe that doesn't play that much, probably their controller is fine for them. It's one of those things, I don't want to use the term once you get really good, but once you spend a lot of time with something, you tend to find optimizations in them. And so it's good to have controllers like this where I can completely customize how I feel. I mean, the trigger stops, you have 3, it's either 2, oh, maybe it's just 2. You got 2 trigger stop things. You got the rear controllers you can program. So it's always good stuff. Let's see. Oh, and I think what I wanted to look at with this is, okay, here we go, $159.99. And that's what's crazy. There's these brands that have made computer components that then make controllers, and they're super expensive. And maybe they're doing that because it's like they can. But something like FlyDigi, GameSir that you get out of China, those things are cheaper. Like this, I want to say this controller was $60, which is still a lot, but okay. Okay, so $160 probably going to pass. Would love to check it out, though. Looks like it has kind of an interesting look to it. Okay. Castlevania Belmont's Curse exists because Konami loved Evil Empire's Dead Cells crossover pitch. That's great that they like that. I mean, there's probably not much else going on, so of course they would. And what I'm talking about is Dead Cells, a game that I loved. I, got it early on. I remember playing it and loved it. And like, oh man, this, and I even remember thinking at the time, this is how I'd want a Castlevania game to be. But when they came out with the Castlevania DLC, I kind of changed my mind on that. I was like, I don't know. And then they had them work on the Prince of Persia game. I don't remember if it was the same, it was either Empire or the 2, whatever. They have like their subsidiaries. Yeah, the Rogue Prince of Persia. That's what I'm thinking of. It wasn't the Metroidvania. So that's what's interesting. They came out with the Dead Cells game with the Castlevania stuff, and it's roguelike. And they're like, oh, okay, let's have them make a roguelike game. Well, it's like, well, you already got them making a Castlevania game. Have them make a Castlevania game, which is then what we are getting next. And I wanna stay completely positive, like, I really have no reason to say anything negative other than through the lens of a huge Castlevania fan, and that has to do with the music, the art style. I kinda like how it's the classic style logo in it, but other things about it, I mean, I hope they're not just saying, "Hey, we just want fun side-scrolling exploration." Like, there's gotta be more to it, so we'll see when that comes about. But I feel like it's like these things aligned. Like this was even me as the consumer was like, oh, Dead Cells, perfect evolution of Castlevania combat. Oh, they're doing Castlevania DLC. Well, they might as well make a Castlevania game. Oh, they're making Rogue Prince of Persia. Shouldn't they make a Metroidvania? Oh, okay, they are. Belmont's Curse. So it did happen. Yeah, we'll see. We still don't have a lot of information about this, which is odd. They'll show off stuff, but not story. We're still waiting to get confirmation of this being Sonia Belmont, which I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, we'll see. Here's something. Have you guys heard of the Xanadu Next? Because I didn't until, and this is the reason why I like Twitter or X. What was it? Yeah, is just seeing a GIF of a game and being like, and then obviously the people don't say what the game is, so you have to go to the comments where someone's like, "Hey, what game is this?" And okay, there we go. And this is Xanadu Next, which looks awesome. I mean, I've seen a bunch of different things from here. Even though the camera's pulled back, it still has that third person. It's like a mix of like a top-down Zelda, but like a third-person action game, like a Souls or something. It's got like that perfect perspective. Now, it originally came out in 2005, but there was I guess, a Steam release in 2016 of the original version. And, reading about it, I hear a lot of awesome things. How, they say it's like a Metroidvania, but also like Dark Souls, how there's a hub area. And as you go out and explore, like there's really a emphasis on exploration, that you tend to find shortcuts or ways to get back to like the hub world. And that's what the first Dark Souls was really good about. Sometimes you'd be traveling and you feel like you're lost, and then you come across a door that takes you back to where you needed to be. Like, oh, great, now I can save and then go back and go to the things I missed. And it's only $14.99. This looks like a lot of fun, guys. I'm gonna hopefully check it out maybe this weekend. A lot of cool things about it. Yeah, it looks like there's some light platforming, opening treasure chests. And then, yeah, at this village, you get the map at the top left. Who knows all the stats and items on the right? F1, F2, F3, F4. Okay, so that's like using different things. So, never heard of this game. I know Xanadu, but Xanadu Next, that's new. A lot of positive reviews. This is a gamer's game, an action RPG dungeon crawl with any extra cruft stripped out. We have a minimal plot, a whole lot of stats, skills, and secrets. I got done in about 12 hours in game and had a grand time rolling credits. Everything that was said sounds amazing. A 12-hour experience is on point. And saying that there's not cruft, I don't think I've ever used that word before, but I guess it just means extra things that are unnecessary. Yeah, cruft refers to unwanted, redundant, or obsolete junk, particularly in software or hardware, often accumulating over time. That's interesting. I'd never used that word before. And while I don't think it directly is what, I mean, you could still use that word and it makes sense, but that seems to be about code piling on top of each other over time that's redundant or unnecessary, where this is just talking about stuff in a game. There's a little grammar lesson. Anyway, oh, we got this, but I can't read it. So, although I'm seeing the Ease Origin, which is kind of that other isometric style action game. So, well, okay. Let's see. Man, you sold me so hard on Dead Cells. Yeah, because it was just strange how it came out of nowhere and had excellent combat, even for a roguelike, when I'm not really into those that much. It's a Nihon Falcom title, a part of the Dragon Slayer franchise. Okay, I didn't know it was the N-Gage, but I remember it came out back in 2005 on the N-Gage. I used to have an N-Gage. I mean, Yeah, I pretty much had all the consoles then, but part of the Dragon Slayer. Okay, I'll have to check that out because I really do want to play this. This looks really good. So, all right, guys, that is about it. Thanks for joining this morning. Check out Gundam Explained channel. I have a review up of the Red Gundam from GQuacks, the Gundam Universe figure. But yeah, I'll be back tomorrow on the Gundam Explained channel, and then back here Wednesday later. So until then, I'll have a good one. See y'all.